Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to initialize Convex. So Control J to open up our terminal, and then inside this second terminal that says Convex, let's go ahead and begin to do things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and navigate into Convex. Once again, let me just go into convex.dev. If you don't have an account, it's going to ask you to log in with GitHub. So Convex uses GitHub for authentication. So if you don't have a GitHub account, make sure you create one. And then once you log in, then it's going to take you into your dashboard, which has all the Convex applications. So you can see I have a number of them, which I was also doing for testing. But the demo that I showed you is this one right here. Now, I don't want to use this. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and say, where is it? Best practices, which should give us the docs. And then when you get into the docs, we're going to go into quick starts right here. And then we're using NextJs, so NextJs right there. And we've already done this. We need to do this next. So we need to install Convex. So inside our second terminal, we're going to say pnpm add Convex. And if you're using npm, it's npm install Convex. So enter, and then let's wait for that. So once Convex installs, what you need to do is run the Convex dev server. And the command is npx convex dev, but I'm not using npx. So I'm going to say pnpx convex dev, which is going to start our Convex server. So let's wait for it, because it's going to ask us whether we want to create a new application or not. So there we go. So we want to create a new project. So just using the arrow keys, you can simply select create new project. And I'm going to call it Convex events. And there we go. You can see that it creates some entries into your .env local file. So as that is analyzing and data, and actually it's already ready, you can see Convex functions are ready. So when you see that, then Convex is okay. Now, if I navigate into the .env.local file, you'll notice these two have been added automatically. Now, these are going to be dependent on your Convex deploy. This is going to be totally different from yours, but we're not even doing anything using this, so it doesn't really matter all that much. So if I go back into my Convex dashboard, you'll notice that we now have Convex events right here created 1 minute ago. Now I'm going to open this up, and then inside here, we are not going to do anything just yet, but let's go ahead and continue with our quick start. Now, I'm going to skip this part because I don't want any seed data into our database, because we're going to be creating ours, by ourselves. And then of course you can do this to get the seed data, which is this one. Basically what it does is that it uses a query to get the data that you have in your database, and then gets them, and then we need to create our Convex client provider. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and not select this because we're using JavaScript. If you're using TypeScript, it's okay. So copy this, and then inside our app folder, I'm going to create a new file that is called Convex client provider.js. And once again, the naming is totally up to you, as in whether you want to use camel case or not. And actually, let me rename this to JSX, and then just paste in what I copied like so, which is going to get the next public Convex URL, which was automatically added, remember? So actually we're using it somewhere, pardon me. And then what we need to do now is wrap our entire application, rather the children, into the Convex client provider. So back inside our layout, once again, we need to go ahead and grab the children here and wrap them into the Convex client provider like so. And then of course, remember to import it. And then once we do that, then we can go ahead and get the data from Convex and then display it on the screen. But I'm not going to do this step because obvious reasons we don't have this yet. But now we can begin to build our application. You can see that it says all events this page could not be found. First of all, let's build a custom 404 page. The way we do that is back inside our app folder, we're going to create a new file here called not-found.js, and this file must be called not-found. So I'm going to say export default function not found, and then inside here I'm going to return a section, or let me say maybe a div perhaps, and then this div is going to have a class name here of max width for XL, mx auto padding on the y of 20, padding on the x of 4. And then inside this div, we're going to have an article with a class of space dash y dash 4. And then inside this article, we're going to have an h1 that says page not found. The h1 is going to have a class name here of text dash 3xl, and then font dash bold. And then the article should have a class of text center so that everything is centered well. And then below this, you can have a short description if you want, but I'm just going to say lorem 10 because I don't want to type everything out. And then below the paragraph, we're going to have a button here from components UI button. We're going to give it the as child prop, and we're going to give it a variant of secondary so that it is white. And then inside here, we're going to have a link component from next/link with an href that goes back into the /, and it should go into /all-events because we are assuming that the user is already logged in. And then inside here, the text is going to say ampersand LARR for the left arrow, and then says back to homepage. And that should be okay. Let's save that and let's see how the 404 page looks like. And you can see NextJs is giving us an actual error. So that is a reloading error. It should just reload automatically and then show you the correct page. There we go. So that is our custom 404 page. Let's give this a class name here. Class name of text small leading 6 text muted foreground. So, and it should make that a bit better. I mean, you can make a better 404 page. You don't have to use this, but this will suffice. Now, when you're using kind, there is a way that you can check for authentication. And actually, I think I want to do that because I'm assuming perhaps you can be on the home page, but you're not logged in and you navigate into a page that doesn't exist. I don't want to be able to navigate back into the all events page. So the way we do that in kind is we need to use a component. And in this case, I'm going to use a client component. So let me turn this into a client component. Now there is a server component or a server component equivalent for this. But let me go ahead and do this. I'm going to say const, and then I'm going to destructure user. And this is coming from a hook that is called use kind browser client, like so. Now, if you don't want to use the client version, let me just check. I should be able to get the server version. So kind, and then the developers should give me the docs for the backend documentation right here. And then let's see. Let me search a kind. What's it called? Get user. I'll be able to. That's the Ruby SDK. NextJs app router. Yes. And then we should be able to. Let's see. Kind. Yeah, there we go. So when you're using the server components, then you can use the get kind server session. But if you're on the client component, you use kind browser client. So just take note of that. Take note of that right there. So use kind browser client, and then when you're on the server, you use get kind server session, and you use those two. Okay. Now back inside our application, we are getting this. So what we're going to do is we're going to check whether the user exists. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out, and then inside curly brackets, we're going to say that when user is true, then we want to show a button, and then when the user is not true, meaning not logged in, then we want to log in the user. So actually, let me paste that button twice. So when the user is logged in, then we want the redirect to go into the /events. But when the user is not logged in, so this second button, then the redirect should go back into the / page, which is the home page. Now save that, and that should be working correctly. So all events go back, and it should go back into the all events page, which doesn't exist. Let's go ahead and fix that. So inside our app folder, we're going to create a new folder that is called all-events. And then inside this folder, we're going to create a new file that is called page.js. And then I'm going to say RFC, which is coming from an extension that I have. And I'm going to call this all events page. And when I save that, then now this error should go away. And as it is going away, like so, The extension that I'm talking about is called ES7 Plus React Redux and React Native snippets. So it just allows me to use shorthand properties so that I don't have to keep on typing out everything every single time.